My friend Bill Shorten has decided that he will not be contesting the next election. It's a big decision for him, for Chloe and their family who are joining us here today. Chloe and Clementine, welcome. And Bill and I have had a number of conversations over this, about this over a period of time. I think it's a credit to Bill that this news will come as a surprise, because at no point in the past 2 and a bit years would any observer of Australian politics think that Bill Shorten was taking it easy or slowing down. In this term and right throughout his 17 years in Parliament, and before that as an official, a proud official of the trade union movement, Bill has given it everything every single day. On that note, I want to make it clear that I've asked Bill to remain in Cabinet until he departs in February, because he and I agree there is important work still to be done to put the National Disability Insurance Scheme on a sustainable footing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've decided not to seek a 7th term in Parliament. Over 30 years ago, when I joined the Australian Workers' Union, I was driven by the belief that everyone, regardless of circumstance, deserves an equal opportunity, the opportunity to fulfil their potential. That's what fair wages and safe workplaces, decent conditions are all about. It's recognising the merit and worth of every individual. It's the same principle which brought me here in 2007. A determination to always stand up for the underdog, for all the people who don't start out with the same set of advantages in life. But there's something else that AW members have taught me.
Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication and with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. Anxiety. This is something that is shaking our society. It's shaking our nation. One of the things I was most concerned about, you've heard about the droughts and the floods and the fires and the pandemics. We even had a mice plague in in New South Wales. I told the story in the previous service. I have it on other places. One day I was at the National Security Committee meeting of Cabinet, and Josh Frydenberg, great friend, I turned to him, I said, Josh, I think it's time we let your people go. But one of the things that I was very concerned about and remain concerned about as a Member of Parliament is mental health. The mental health strains and stresses and the anxieties that are driven in our societies is having a real toll on people. It's really serious. In 2021, we put a question in the census for the first time, and 40% of Australians identified as having a long-term health condition, and the most prolific of all of those long-term health conditions were mental ill health. I'm talking about anxiety. Anxiety is longer lasting. Anxiety can be overwhelming. It can be debilitating. Can be an agony, a dread. About the future, about your feeling of hopelessness or incapacity to deal with a situation that is ahead of you, and it can shut you down. And it typically emerges in adolescence from a clinical perspective. It can make you very, very sick. Worry can make you sick, very sick. Headaches, nausea, diarrhea, shortness of breath, chest pains. And it can also lead to depression, self-harm, panic attacks, substance abuse, disrupted sleep patterns. It can affect your appetite. It can be a forerunner to eating disorders, self-harm, substance abuse, even psychosis and other mental illnesses. So this is serious. This is not something where you go, teaspoon of cement, harden up, move on. Let's see that they're acknowledged, that they're heard, that they're listened to, that they're understood, that they're not making it up, that they're not soft or weak or, if you go back into the sort of stigma that is attached to mental illness, people are taught to think like that. Know that God knows that. Well, he spent 3 years here on earth with 12 very anxious guys. Every single day. They're anxious. I don't know if you've seen The Chosen. I have watched it, really enjoyed it. I'd encourage you to do it because it focuses a lot on the disciples and their humanity. And I know it's a creative interpretation of it, but it's a great watch because it shows their fallibility, their vulnerability, and how they were wrestling with all of this stuff going on. Jesus was there with them every day, understanding their anxieties. What does this mean? They'd leave their families behind. They had stuff going on with their mothers-in-law. They had all sorts of stuff going on. And Jesus was there walking with them every day, saying things to them that was just blowing their minds. I can imagine their anxiety. God was there with Abraham when he told his wife, I'm just taking Isaac up the hill. And he walked with him up that mountain. God was there when Noah got on that ark